Lewis Hamilton made request to Mercedes at F1 title party. This is what he said: Hamilton secured the 2018 crown in Mexico City last month to go level with motorsport great Juan Manuel Fangio. And, with 2 years left on his Mercedes deal, the Brit has a strong chance of equaling Michael Schumacher's record of 7 titles, though, is all too aware of the threat Ferrari and Red Bull will pose to his chances of securing honors for a third time in a row in 2019. And the request he made to G-up his Mercedes teammates at last week's title celebrations in Brackley has now been revealed. "I'm going to try and think how the first half of our season could have been stronger," Hamilton said, as reported by "How do we make sure we start stronger, and then finish off as strong as we did? Please try and think how you can be better individually, and together with the guys you are working next to." Because that's what I'm trying to think of, how I can deliver more for you next year. So, when they bring more power, and more energy, we bring even more. Hamilton will end the season at least 50 points clear of closest rival and Ferrari driver Sebastian Vettel regardless of what happens at Sunday's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. While Red Bulls will be another 100 points further back, having struggled to deliver on a consistent basis this year. Verstappen has been tipped to follow in Hamilton's footsteps one day and become the first Dutch F1 champion in the process. Mercedes executive director Toto Wolff has tipped the 21-year-old to do just that. "You can see that there is a future champion coming together," Wolff said. "Unbelievable talent and speed. And I think once the raw edges are off, he will be somebody who will be a world champion one day." Verstappen's Red Bull contract runs out in 2020, meaning he could be lined up to replace Hamilton. Related articles: Robert Kubica. Williams announce huge Kubica deal for 2019 F1 season. Kubica returns to 8 years after the rally incident that left him with severe arm injuries. Kubica, who won the Canadian Grand Prix with BMW Sauber in 2008, will partner British rookie George Russell at a once dominant team that has fallen on hard times and is currently last in the standings. "Being back on the F1 grid next season will be one of the greatest achievements of my life," said Kubica, whose last Formula One race was in 2010 with Renault, of his remarkable turnaround. Kubica's career in motorsport looked over, but the 33-year-old, who had a trial for Williams before this season only to be overlooked for Sergei Sorokin, has been given a full race deal. It is understood the deal was agreed earlier in the week and has now been confirmed for the 2019 season. Williams will pair Kubica with Russell for 2019 after he worked with the team as a test and reserve driver. But now Williams are confident in his abilities to come back to the track as a racer. Lance Stroll looks set to move on, after his father bought into Force India and Sirotkin's future is uncertain. Earlier this month Kubica hinted he was close to a return. "Maybe the wish of driving and coming back to F1 is bigger than the wish of a long project. I leave a lot to personal conclusions," he told. "When I'm saying I want to make my mind up, it's also about what I want to do with my future. I'm not looking only for the next 3 months, or 1 year, but what is my feeling?" The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix this weekend completes the season with both titles already wrapped up by Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. The pole's confirmation at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix also means Canadian Stroll will be moving to Force India, with Mercedes-backed French youngster Esteban Ocon resigned to a season on the sidelines as reserve. Although Force India have yet to announce their second driver alongside Mexican Sergio Perez, they are owned by a consortium led by Stroll's billionaire father Lawrence. Kubica thanked all those who had helped him through the dark times that followed his life-changing crash when a steel guardrail penetrated his car and arm in a minor rally in northwest Italy. It has been a challenging journey to make it back to the Formula One grid, but what seemed almost impossible is now beginning to feel possible, he said. It has been a long road to get to this point, but as the challenge now comes to an end with this announcement, a new challenger begins working with Williams on track. Kubica underwent extensive surgery after the accident and his arm remains noticeably thin and twisted. He said last year that, while recognizing some limitations with the movement of his arm, he felt in better shape physically than when he was last on the starting grid. Deputy Principal Claire Williams said the team had been immensely impressed with Kubica's strength and tenacity. During this season his commitment to the team and the work he has put in behind the scenes has been unwavering, she said. He has a level of determination that is remarkable to see, and he truly embodies the Williams fighting spirit. Having the consistency of Robert stepping up into this new role will be an important step for us as we look to fight our way back towards the front of the field. Related articles. F1 News: Sebastian Vettel revelation made by former Red Bull teammate Carlos Sainz. Sainz and Vettel were teammates when they were tasked with testing Red Bull's car in Abu Dhabi 5 years ago. Sainz was by far the junior driver of the two, given the German was F1's leading light. Was hot off the back of winning 4 World Drivers' Championships in a row, a record only bettered by Juan Manuel Fangio and Michael Schumacher at the time. However, it seems he did not regard himself as being above Sainz, who was yet to get a taste of F1 action. In the end, I had the feeling that I had made a good lap, Sainz told Formula One's podcast, when asked about his meeting with Sainz in Abu Dhabi. Then Sebastian came into the garage and got into the same car right after me, with the same tires and a similar program. I assumed he would destroy my lap. In the end, he was only half a tenth of a second faster. Sainz then opened up about how Vettel reacted when he saw how he had performed on the Yas Marina circuit. Vettel said, "You did a really good job there," Sainz added, before revealing Vettel praised him when talking to Red Bull's engineers. "Since then I have great respect for him." Also revealed what Vettel is like when the cameras aren't on him. And the 24-year-old has suggested he contrasts to other multiple-time champions. Vettel tries to name everyone by name, Sainz added. And he always takes time for you, asks about your family. You do not often see that in the paddock, especially not from a 4-time world champion. Related articles. F1 News: Mercedes chief Toto Wolff reveals surprise backing for Max Verstappen. Verstappen is widely regarded as one of the most promising prospects in motorsport, having made waves since joining Red Bull from their junior team in 2016. And in the future he is expected to win the World Drivers' Championship, which would make him the first Dutchman to achieve that feat. Former Toro Rosso man's aggressive driving style has sometimes counted against him today though. But Wolff, who's helped Lewis Hamilton achieve immense success with Mercedes, has now backed the 21-year-old to go on and secure the F1 title. You can see that there is a future champion coming together, Wolff said. Unbelievable talent and speed. And I think once the raw edges are off, he will be somebody who will be a world champion one day. Verstappen made the headlines at the recent after clashing with Force India's Esteban Ocon. Verstappen had been leading at Interlagos before a coming together with Ocon forced him off the track. That allowed Hamilton to take the lead and the Brit held on for a 10th race win of the season. Verstappen confronted Ocon in the paddock and pushed him after they had angrily exchanged words. Wolff believes Verstappen will reflect on those scenes as being part of a necessary stage in his development. In a few years he will look at the footage of Brazil, and maybe have his own opinion about whether that was the right behavior or not, Wolff added. But you can't accelerate these things, this is a learning process. This weekend Verstappen will be out to stop champion Hamilton securing an 11th victory of the year. The campaign comes to a close with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit on Sunday. Related articles F1 News, Max Verstappen makes Red Bull prediction involving Mercedes and Ferrari. Verstappen has been vocal this season in his disapproval of the power units Renault have supplied to Red Bull. But he has just one race to go with the French manufacturer's engines, this Sunday's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Red Bull will ditch Renault for Honda ahead of the 2019 campaign, a change we'll certainly hope bears fruit. Red Bull have made positive noises about the power units Honda will supply, after having worked with the Japanese company in their junior Toro Rosso team. And while Verstappen insists the progress of Honda's engines has not been overstated, he has predicted and will still be the early pacesetters next year. What we're saying about Honda is not a lie, Verstappen told Swiss magazine. We are not just putting something into the world that is not right. We see the whole numbers. But of course, everything will depend on the progress of our competition. I am a realist. I estimate that we will lag behind in terms of performance at the beginning of the 2019 season. But we will definitely be better off then than we are today. Whether that's enough to get involved at the top we will have to see. Verstappen's criticism of Renault's engines prompted a response from their chief technical officer Rob Bell. For Max, it's all about being fast because he's young and in a hurry, Bell said. He wants to win because he knows he has the potential and he's disappointed that his car lets him down. But he only blames our engine. We make no changes to the engines we use for our works cars and the ones that go to our customers. It may be the installation of the engines that affect the Red Bull cars, or maybe they've just been unlucky.